Okay, gonna play my Nintendo. Playing my Nintendo. Super Mario, Pokemon. Yeah. Pew 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 pew. Hello, everybody. Today I have another video for you all. Hooray! And today's review video is going to be on Switchbot. Now, if you saw my last video that I posted like literally just the other day, you'd know that this is probably a very appropriate topic to be discussing. This character is probably a very appropriate character, but as you can see, it's pretty. I feel like I don't really need to explain his alt mode all that much. I mean, it's pretty easy to recognize what this is, but yeah, it's a Nintendo Switch. For any of you who somehow don't know what this thing is, it's got all the buttons. It's got the on-off, the volume, the little heat vent, or the thing where you put the cartridges. Yeah, it's got two buttons, or the two joysticks, all the buttons, the screenshot, and the home button. I didn't add the plus and minus because those are such little details I couldn't fit them in, unlike these ones. That up top we have the 4 shoulder buttons, and flipping it around, it's not as clean. You can see like the entire chunk of the robot. This is like the main part of the robot. You can take this off, leaving it just a little less kibbly, but still not as clean. But I feel like besides this, it's a very clean front. Actually, if you notice, this piece is actually not actual Lego. Don't tell anybody that. Yeah. So, and if you saw at the beginning of the video, I have the adapter thing that you could plug the controllers in. Let me just show you what that looks like real quick. So yeah, this is, it's a very clean design because I like the way I got the curves, because I got the curve very similarly to how a normal controller looks. Yeah, it's a very nice design. The screen's a bit smaller than I would like, but it's fine. Alright, so just for a little size comparison in vehicle mode, I brought in an actual Switch, and you can see my recording setup. Hello. And as you can see, my Switch, it looks good on its own. It looks fairly decently proportioned. Put it to a normal Switch. Ours is a bit aged, but it's a very clear size difference. As you see, the buttons on mine are a little more spread out. Here they're kind of awkwardly squished, which sometimes it gives me like cramps. How this is a personal thing with me. Sometimes I get cramps from using the buttons since they're so cramped together. Like, Nintendo, why don't you just use all this extra space here or here? Yeah, the Nintendo Switch, although it is a very high-tech thing, being able to remove the controllers like this, and like being adaptable, it's still heavily flawed. And even the OLED doesn't really fix much. But anyways, back with this guy. Yeah, the top buttons, it's a little more less detailed. Like, we got the vent, the volume, and the power button, all that. Yeah, it's a lot more simplified, but it's pretty good. All right, and also, by the way, if you didn't have a scale for how big this guy is, he's pretty large. So if you remember, I said that I want my Mecha Guardian characters to be in scale with like my Transformer characters. Here's Earthrise Optimus. And this guy, being one of my Mecha Guardians, I want him to be in scale. So why is he so big? Well, a little more lore for you guys. If you didn't see my junkie review, I said I was kind of talking about him, but so he's like basically the brains, the inventor, the wheeljack, basically. And so I'd like to think that he made like a growing and shrink ray or some sort of Ant-Man technology. And so what he's been doing is that, so after they defeat this guy, they then realize that their team is very small, so they try and build a team. And so what he does, he builds the growing ray to, like, if there's a tiny guy, like a tiny little transformer, like a bug transformer, they grow him up to be big. And the Switch was one of those guys. He was a tiny little Switch at one point, but he got hit with the grow ray, and now he's all big. A little too big, as you can see. That's basically why he's such a large Nintendo Switch. Alright, and now into transformation. And a lot like Unknown Warrior, he's a bit of a parts former. At least, like, you need to take him apart and put him back together. Now, in this case, it's a bit different where, like, you have to actually take it apart and put it back together. When this guy, you're just putting it together instead of actually taking it apart and putting it back. But, so this is a lot more of parts forming than Unknown Warrior. But, so first, I want to start off with the Toy-Con grip thing. So first what we want to do is remove the side bits, and then take this back plate off. This gray bit here has to go on there. But this gray bit, and then this piece splits in half, like this. Flip this piece around. Bam. Now this might get a bit confusing, but what we're going to do is take this to the opposite side. Same thing with this one. Flip it around. Flip it like this. And then to the opposite side. This guy can be put aside for now. And here we have the legs done. Now for the actual Nintendo Switch. So first what we're going to do is and you have to do the sound effects too. Then this is a bit confusing, so what you have to do is put this up like that and keep this down like this. And slide it like this. Also, by the way, you kind of need to bend it out slightly and then slide it down. Otherwise, it kind of gets caught. So now that we have this done, what we're going to do is actually click it down like this. It doesn't actually click in, but like it wedges in. Then to the front, we flip up and reveal his lovely face. And then we flip out his antenna. That one's a bit loose. There we have the body. Alright, so one very satisfying head scratch later, we have the Toy-Cons to do. That's actually what these things are called, by the way, Toy-Cons. We're going to start off with the red one first. So we're going to snap in half, then snap this piece in half, and then rotate this bit inward. Refocus the camera because it's awful. And there's the left arm. We're going to come into this one. We're going to snap in half, snap in half again. This reveals a gun. And I feel like the contrast between the two arms is just beautiful. I just really love it. Like how one arm is just a simple hand and the other is a gun. And also like the yellow sprinkled throughout. I'd like to think that that's like the inside wiring and stuff. Like being exposed because again he's a Nintendo Switch, not like a car or something. So there's going to be like wires and all sorts of weird technology stuff that I don't understand on the inside. Alright, now that we have the arms done, we could probably get into combining. So first what we're going to want to do is take his legs. And if you excuse me for a moment to adjust the... Okay, so now that we're 6 feet instead of 4 feet, we're going to take his body now. And like that. Clickety. Clackety. And then this piece from earlier, it's actually going to go onto his back. Just kind of click it on there. Just like said. Now finally, we come in for the arms. And so the left one goes on the left side. And if you notice, I actually marked each side like it's kind of split down the middle. And then the red one on the other side. And there we have Switchbot done. So Switchbot is actually the biggest character I've showcased. One of my own original characters I've showed off. I'm putting Unknown Warrior next to him for scale, you can actually see that he's very large, more than twice the size of Unknown Warrior. Actually, I've said this a bit in my other videos, that I started off building them a lot smaller like this, but as I went on, I built them bigger and bigger. So this was actually the first original character I made, him being a more recent one. Yeah, so with this character, I'd like to think of him as, well, actually, now that I think about it, I've never actually thought of a personality for him. I don't know, maybe he could be like a kind guy, like a, hey, we could work this out, we don't need to fight, or something like that. But he's got a blaster on one hand, and a normal hand on the other. One of my favorite details is how I got like a two-faced look, where like half his body is blue, and the other one is red. It kind of almost gives him like a, kind of like a Into the Spider-Verse type color with like the highlights and stuff. And in my opinion, it looks really cool. Yeah, I also, for his head, I gave him like a visor faceplate combo. Personally, the visor faceplate combo is a little silly to me, because they're robots, and at that point, like, why not just have like just a flat panel with a camera in the middle? But I don't know, whatever. Also, I gave him like a very almost like Transformers Prime-esque design with a very rigid, long, pointy design. I really like, one of my favorite designs is that how I got the screen to look like as if it splits in half, and it's on his chest. This is something, thinking, when going into his design, this is what I had in mind. The screen splits in half and becomes part of his chest. A lot like movie Optimus, where like the front splits in half and stuff like that. This is kind of what I had in mind going into it. And also another thing, I'd like to think that like the screen is cracked, like almost like how Optimus's windshield is cracked in the second movie. I'd like to think that that's what's going on the screen. Also, by the way, his legs are very floppy. I just have these two pin things. Yeah, they're very floppy and don't look the greatest on him. I don't know. He's got a very tall, skinny design. So actually, without this panel, he's got like the creases on his back go like really far down, making him look, I don't know, it doesn't make him look as complete or well built. But this panel back here, I feel like kind of solves that like not very well built design. Like kind of makes him look a lot more bulky and more Hulk-like and stuff. Also, another thing is that, so with this guy, he's very back heavy. Like, the way I designed him, he's very slender and swooped back. So I actually had to give him these massive, massive heels like that. And these things just barely keep him up, by the way. I actually recently redesigned his crotch piece to actually be more like up and back. So like his legs are actually underneath him, because originally they were actually in front of him instead of actually underneath him. So that's a fun fact. Also, I guess another detail is that I could point out is that I based him off the, again, I based him off the blue, like the classic blue and red design, and not the original black design. And to be honest, if you own the black Switch, then you're just a dork. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and yes, I know I said I would stop uploading. I would upload less frequently, but I kind of just couldn't help myself. I was bored. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to share my video. And also check out my community tab. I post on there regularly. And yeah, so with this, my next review is going to be this guy. Make sure to stay tuned. And until then, bye-bye.